always leave one up here too. I realize I don't want to take the risk of spilling my water on it. Come on in, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. Come on in, shake off the cold, dust off the ice, let it melt. See who you're here with this morning in community, and let the warmth of being together warm your hearts and melt the cold that is hardening in our hearts right now.
Good morning, and welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Huntington. I'm Jennifer Thieck. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm your worship associate today. If you're here for the first time, or the first time in a while, welcome. You don't need to have it all figured out to be here. This is a place where questions are allowed, where we try to tell the truth about the world, and where you don't have to carry things alone. Unitarian Universalists don't ask everyone to believe the same thing. We ask something harder, that we practice a love with integrity, a love that tells the truth, a love that can repair what it can, a love that doesn't give up on human dignity, even when the world is doing its best to make that feel optional. Today we're beginning a new month with our theme, Risking Love. And yes, love can feel like a risk right now, not because love is fragile, but because real love refuses numbness. Real love pays attention. Real love gets into the real world. A quick note about participation. Please take care of your body during worship. Stand or sit as you're able. If you need to stretch, step out, get water, tend to a child, or just take a quiet moment, please do. You belong here as a whole person. After the service, we'd love to see you at coffee hour in the social hall. If you're new and want help getting oriented, you can look for me, Reverend Israel, or anyone wearing a name tag. Now, a few announcements. Today is February 1st, right? After service, there's a newcomer and new member orientation to Unitarian Universalism and to our fellowship. Learn about the UUFH from our minister, Reverend Israel, and fellowship leaders representing social justice, congregational governance, finance, and religious education. There will be, starting February 4th, there will be 3 sessions of the UUFH LGBTQIA+ committee, and it will be discussing the book Authentic Selves by Peggy Gillespie. You can order that book online on Amazon. And lastly, on Saturday, February 14th at 1 o'clock here, there will be a Democracy Forward Long Island meeting. Join Democracy Forward to get inspired and to show how much you love democracy. They'll share ideas, meet other pro-democracy volunteers, and hear from candidates, and learn about how each of us can best support them through volunteering. And all of this information you can read on our website. All right. Thank you. And now, as we turn to worship, I invite you to settle in.
I am Reverend Israel, by the way. If I haven't had the pleasure of meeting you, welcome. And it's so lovely to see you here this morning. And all those of you who I have had the pleasure of meeting, it's lovely to be here with you today, too. I don't have to tell you this, but it's cold outside. The kind of cold that makes your shoulders climb up towards your chin and up back behind your ears before you even notice that you're doing it, the kind that makes you shudder and not want to leave the house, want to stay put. Because it can be cold out there in other ways too, not just in temperature. Cold with fear, cynicism, cold with that temptation that we have to shrink back up and harden up, and perhaps even to start treating other people like problems instead of neighbors.
This symbol of our Unitarian Universalist faith is a small, steady act of defiance against the freeze. A warm fire for the love we're willing to risk. A flame for truth, bright enough to cut through distortion and denial. A flame for repair, even when repair is slow.
A flame for anyone whose heart feels iced over right now. Not because any of us are broken, but because we've been living through a brutal season. May this light help us and remind us to stay human. May it keep us warm enough to keep moving and keep going, and may it keep us close enough to not leave any of us behind.
And because this is the first Sunday of Black History Month, we begin today with a song that carries history, courage, and longing in its bones.
We're singing Lift Every Voice and Sing. It's often called the Black National Anthem, and it comes from a tradition of people who learned how to sing inside of a world that keeps trying to break and silence them. If this song is part of your spiritual home, sing it like home. And for those of us who come out from outside this tradition, we sing it as guests and as kin. Because we remember that Black history is U.S. history. It is all of our history. Whether we have known that for decades or not. And the freedom struggle is all of our responsibility. So we sing with respect and with gratitude, and let it shape our breath and steady our commitments this morning. I invite you to rise in body or in spirit to sing our opening hymn. as if we did need a reminder of how cold it is, I brought something to help us. So I'm going to come over here on this side so we can talk about it. This is ice. Not something we need a reminder of at the moment. But something we might need a reminder of is that beneath the ice, the cold hardness, is a heart frozen. And the thing about getting your heart out of frozen ice is you can't scream at the ice and make it melt. You can't shame the ice into melting. We have to do something else that's a little more slow and steady, kind of like our chalice flame. But I know that we're tempted with this cold feeling on our hands to smash it. I know that I am. But instead I want to show us maybe a slightly different option. We have a couple of options back here for melting, getting rid of the ice. Who knows what they might be? Warmth. Warmth. Now, one way that we could do it is by passing this around and letting you feel. Who wants to feel this? Feel the cold that we all feel right now. But is it, you don't have to. But as you can see, as I'm holding it, it is melting. Little by little, drop by drop by drop, from all of the warm hands. From all of the warm hands that will take a hold of this and must. Go ahead. You want to hold it? You want to hold it? You want to help me with something? If you want to help me, you could find there's two options back there on the shelf. You see them right here for melting the ice? You want to give us a hand? You can take this. This is salt. Yeah, you can pour it right in there. Go for it. As much as you want. Imagine you're walking into school or a library or a store and you're thinking about your day. You're thinking about what you're going to eat for lunch or what you're going to have for snack, and yeah, keep going. Keep going. And you shouldn't have to do this alone. No one should have to do this alone, so I'll help you. Imagine that you're going through your day, and then you hit a patch of invisible ice that you didn't even expect. And that's what can be so scary about it sometimes, about the cold, is that the weather, the seasons can change so quickly. That's good. Anybody else want to give it a try? Come on up. You can do water or salt, up to you. Yeah, you can, yeah. You want to do water or salt? The salt is right there in the shaker. The other reason that we put salt on ice too, especially on the roads and on your sidewalks, do you know why? Anybody? It melts the ice, but what else does it do? Why do we want to melt the ice on the sidewalk? So nobody gets hurt, yeah. So nobody gets hurt. You could pour some water on the ice. I know, I don't know you know what, I'll be honest. Sometimes I don't know what I'm doing in these kinds of situations either. But we're here to help each other figure it out, right? Yeah. The thing about this kind of frozen ice is it doesn't care who you are. It doesn't care if you're in a hurry. It doesn't care if you're right. It's just there, wanting to trip us up. So what helps? What helps? Somebody slows down and maybe offers you a hand as you're walking on an icy sidewalk so you don't trip and fall. Maybe put some more salt and sand over that ice, trampling it, and if you can see, our heart has finally come loose. I think you have done an amazing job with helping us melt some of this ice. and it's going to sit here. Yeah. You can, thank you so much. You can keep going if you want. But here's the thing, the same ice, the same sidewalks that are covered in snow and slippery ice right now, a few weeks ago were not. And we know that the ice is going to melt, right? We know that the ice is going to melt. And that's the part I want us to keep up with, because it's not going to happen as quickly as it does in this bowl. In fact, it's still going. It's still going. But you know the movie Frozen? You know the movie Frozen, right? What's one line from the beginning of that movie that you might remember? Yeah, that's one. Keeping things buried inside, not sharing with the world what you really care about. The other one is beware the frozen heart. Beware the frozen heart. That is an act of love that can thaw what is frozen, to melt our hearts, to warm our hearts. It's not just a movie idea, it's real life practice. And sometimes it's the bravest thing that we can do. Sometimes it might look like telling a friend or someone else to stop when they're doing something that doesn't feel right or saying something that doesn't feel right. Or maybe it's asking someone to come and sit with you at the lunch table who looks like they could use a friend. These are the salt moments too in our lives, not just melting ice, these little things that we do. So here's my question for you all this week. When you're out in the world, on the sidewalk, in the library, in a store, and you see someone who looks like they're slipping or about to slip, or if you see someone who's walking carefully to make sure they don't slip, what are you going to do? How are you going to warm their heart and your own from the cold? So maybe we'll reach out a hand, reach out a warm heart, and help each other melt this ice. Maybe you need to carry a heart in your pocket to remind yourself something to feel. That's the kind of love that you do with your hands to melt the ice. You use your hands and your voice too, and your attention. And it takes courage. But we have no choice. One of the ways that we do this together is by sharing what's on our hearts in community every week, so that we know that the things that we carry, we do not have to carry alone, that they do not have to become heavy stones that weigh us down. And also, because you are people and you have joy in your lives too. No matter what is going on in the world, you still have those things you look forward to, those things you are planning for. So I ask you to examine your hearts this morning. What is on your heart? What do you bring to this space? When you came in here, you got index cards. And we invite you, if you didn't know, to write on that index card something you're carrying. If you want it to be read out loud, a joy, a sorrow, a complex truth. And in a moment, you'll be invited to come bring those up. Is that sounding okay? Okay. You'll be invited to come bring those up, and we'll receive them. A member of our pastoral care team will receive them so that you know that you're in community with people who are here for you. And you may also light a candle. Another little act of warmth and light to bring to our community this morning. So if you brought something that you want to share, that you want read aloud in community, now's the time to come forward during the music. take a moment to look on all of these candles. Each flame represents something that you bring here, that someone brought here. Each flame represents a life, a season in a life. What a life. And these flames together make something larger than the sum of their parts, something stronger and brighter and more powerful. Don't forget that. I read the things you bring here. First, for Renee and Alex, who were tragically murdered, and for the city of Minneapolis. For Linda, who is having heart surgery on Wednesday. So grateful for the comfort and love of this community, says someone. And there's a heart here. I'm grateful for a wonderful evening with you UUers learning poker last night. All right, a greatly needed night of fun and fellowship. For everyone fighting the good fight, keep getting into good trouble. Very concerned, says this person, by polarization of the country, which sadly is being encouraged by some of our leaders. For our daughter, Michaela, I think that's what it says, I'm sorry, who just got her first job as an RN. CJ is proud of herself for moving into her own bedroom. And being brave. And being brave. Thankful for all the brave, caring community members, it says in Minnesota and beyond, standing up and showing up for one another, knowing the risk, doing what is right anyway. We have one more here. It says, Shell and Sue want to thank you for all of your support, good wishes, text, emails, cards, meals, calls, and hugs for the last month. Shell is happy to announce that he is feeling fine and has a new heart valve and now has no restrictions. I see some melting happening. I see some melting happening. We hold all this now, together in silence, just for a moment. Be together. For all that we carry on this day and every day, let's sing Spirit of Life. And after we sing, anyone who's going off to religious education is welcome to go. I did something this week that felt very odd to me afterwards. It's something that I've done many, many times before. I made an appointment for May. So how many months away? 4? No, 3? 3 months away? My math, there's a reason I'm standing up here. For May. Nothing big, just a boring adult thing. Calendar invite, confirmation, email, text. A little ritual of, yes, I plan to exist in the future. And right after I confirmed my appointment, and I responded with the why, my brain did something to me. It said, May? Will there still be a government office to go to? Will there still be a person at a desk doing normal life paperwork like the world is normal? My calendar insisted that this future will come. And so does the world, the actual calendar, the sun. Time will keep moving, but my bones aren't sure they can trust that right now. Maybe you know that feeling in some respect right now. Maybe you felt it a little bit. Doing normal life in a very much not normal feeling time. Packing lunches while your stomach is clenched. Answering emails while the news keeps offering you reasons to be afraid of something new. Looking at the month ahead and feeling that strange question that might be underneath. Is the future still worth planning for? The answer is yes, I think. That's why I'm up here. But I want to say this because I don't think we're helped by soft language necessarily right now to describe the ways that we're feeling, and we're not helped by keeping it inside. Not helped by a frozen heart that can't say the things that we're feeling in community with people that we feel like we can talk to. Because people are being terrorized right now. Not metaphorically, like this stone heart in ice. Not metaphorically. And I'm not just trying to be dramatic and say that I'm stressed. Because people in real neighborhoods, our schools, people are going missing from the everyday fabric of our country, of our community. And sometimes the loudest way to say what is happening is this absence that we see, or that we don't see. When this kind of thing starts happening, the fear doesn't stay neatly contained inside a bubble of just the people who are targeted. And that's why it's so jarring. Because the fear leaks out and it changes how we move through public spaces. It may even change how we interact with people or look at people when we're out in public. You know, many of us were raised with a story that says this is the land of the free, that the guardrails will hold, and this cannot happen here. But here's the important thing that we need to remind ourselves this morning. This is so important. Black history is U.S. history. For many people, for so many people, Black, Indigenous, and immigrant communities, that story has always been just a story, that story of the land of the free. It's always been just a story. The country has always had more than one reality running at a time, at the same time. The one that it tells about itself, the land of the free that we were taught, perhaps, and the one it enforces with laws, guns, and paperwork, yes. So I'm not grounding us there at the beginning to depress us, but to be honest. Because we have to be. We became one of the wealthiest nations in the world because of the stolen land and stolen labor that amassed that wealth. If we can't name that out loud, acting shocked when dehumanization returns as a solution in new clothing, the moment power feels threatened. When that happens, we have to realize that it is the same story in new clothes. But here's the important part, the good part, the hopeful part. The good that has happened here has happened on purpose. Because people had to make it happen. They had to struggle to make it happen. It has never been automatic. People have always had to fight for it, and they have fought for it, and they have won in so many ways, so many beautiful, empowering ways. They have protected it. They have sung it into being. They have marched it into being. They have chosen people who refuse to let their hearts be trained into compliance. They took a risk for love. And that's our theme for this month, risking love. And here's what I mean by that. In Black History Month, we start with the words of Martin Luther King, who said that love without power is useless. So I'm going to tell you what I mean by that, because I don't want to just get sentimental and useless by talking about victories that people have won, like you heard in the song in the beginning, by risking love. It wasn't by being nice. It wasn't by letting someone just harm themselves, harm certain communities, harm people who were working, fighting for justice. It wasn't just them letting other people harm them and calling it nonviolent resistance. I don't mean healing public violence with private dinner table politeness either, by pretending that we can all just get along. I mean refusing to let the moment, what is happening right now, train you out of your humanity. That's what people in the freedom struggle have done. They refuse to let this cruelty that is happening train the humanity out of them. Because the goal of authoritarian politics isn't policy. It's to train the humanity out of people. To make us smaller, make us suspicious, make us feel frozen in ice, make us feel numb. But there's a heart in there too. This kind of coldness that I'm calling the cold, just the cold today. It's not just the weather. I mean the cold that moves through a community when fear is normalized. The cold that makes you start sorting people when you go out in public in your head like it's self-protection, like who's safe here, who's not? Who can I trust, and who might be a threat? I feel that in myself happening sometimes when I'm out in public right now. And recently I had this experience in a convenience store that made me really see what is happening right now. See it from this perspective of the cold, heart freezing. So I went to a convenience store, and there was a person working in there who was doing everything they could to not be seen. I could tell by the way that they held their body. Their eyes were down, their shoulders were tight, and they had this posture that people get when they realize that being noticed could cost them. And when I saw that, I felt two things at the same time. Well, first, my heart broke to see that happening to someone, to see the deep impact it has on their everyday life, the risk that it took for them just to go to work. But I felt two things. I started to notice how our community is getting quieter. And I don't just mean in here, I mean out there, in many ways. I went to a clergy retreat this week, and there was very little talk at first about what was going on. I feel like it's hard for people to trust each other right now. But the second thing that I noticed was that I was doing it. This cold thing, scanning the room. I've been doing it every time I go out in public. And I hated it. I hate it. I hate how fast it's happening and how fast my mind might go there. So if we want to talk about risking love, we have to talk about refusing the cold. Absolutely refusing the cold. Because that's how a society slides. Not only because bad people, whatever that means to you, do bad things, but because ordinary people, all of us with frozen hearts, all of us, ordinary people, when we start living in a permanent flinch, warmth might start to feel like a reckless choice, and it's not. So we're not pretending that things are okay. I'm not saying that. We're not just trying to come up with a cool phrase or a slogan like, beware the frozen heart. But we're practicing thaw. That's what I suggest for us. Let me give that just a little bit of life for a moment for us. Does anyone know who the poet Andrea Gibson is? Andrea Gibson is a poet who recently died. She was only 49. And she wrote this poem. She died of, she had cancer, and she wrote all throughout her experience. And she wrote this one poem about getting chemotherapy and being in the room, and someone is wearing a red political hat, a MAGA hat. And she says, she's plugged into beeping machines, and there's this man wearing this hat. And Andrea is doing the thing that any honest person does when their mind goes sharp and furious, and asks, who wears a MAGA hat to chemotherapy? Really? And then they're also funny, and they use they for pronouns. They're also funny and blunt and not trying to be the bigger person, I think. They even worry out loud that maybe they're becoming one of those can't we all just get along people. And then they say something that is in my head still. Two things, actually. One is, they say this: dude's gonna show up at my funeral waving hate at my family's tears. But my politics are my soul. My politics are my soul. And they're not going anywhere without their soul, as in their politics. I have very strong opinions about my very strong opinions. So strong that if you say I can't take my politics to the afterlife with me, I'll say, well, that's not true. Because my politics aren't my politics. My politics are my soul. And that guy's politics aren't his soul. I don't think souls have machine gun collections. That guy's politics are more like his incisors, or his hangnails, or his spit. Now, she doesn't stop. They don't stop there. They say this for what they really want, not just what they don't want. Says of the room that they are sitting in, vulnerable, and seeing someone across the room who they don't believe would protect their life. Says, I want this room to be a country. Not a country of flags and slogans, a country where nobody walks in and gets identified as an enemy. A country where, at minimum, people are rooting for each other to survive. And Gibson doesn't get there by going soft. They get there by telling the truth all the way through, even when it sucks. Even about the part where they can see the ache in that person who's in that room. The ache behind that red hat. It says this: I want a world where we don't keep practicing the skills of hate. I want him to want me to live so long, this is great, I want him to want me to live so long that I could walk right over now and tell him that I had to have my ovaries removed. And he'd be so kind, he'd say, Andrea, you can absolutely have one of mine here, just take it. And here's where it goes next. There is a land. That phrase somewhere. We just think believing it is a child's prayer. We think it's a dream. Something you only let yourself want when you don't yet know this world. But if that land can't exist in this chemotherapy room where everyone's being told they could die soon, how can it ever happen out there? But then it gets widened. Widened in the way that poets widen things when they're not letting us off the hook for what we're trying to do. They talk about being one eyelash in the eye of humanity. About the planet itself wanting us to survive of natural causes like kindness, caring, remembering that we're all in temporary bodies, that we are not made of stone. We're all in temporary bodies headed towards the same truth. And I don't think that's just a sentimental idea. That is refusal of the cold. So as you look at this ice, feel it. I want you to notice one other thing down here too. A pot with seeds in it. Seeds that need to be stratified by the cold, or else they won't sprout. That's in my backyard. I actually took it from my backyard so that we could have a physical reminder in front of us of what is beneath the ice. I'm reminded during Black History Month of what is beneath the ice. A record of people risking love while being hunted, while being lied about. It's also a record of people refusing the cold, refusing to let terror harden their hearts, refusing to let oppression turn them into replicas of the thing that they were fighting. Dr. King said there is no time to engage in the luxury of cooling off, as in cooling off is what power requests when power is doing harm. Because comfort has never been the engine of justice. So here's just the simple thing we're asking to do today in our hearts, with love and with steel. Do not let the cold decide who you become. Let the warm hands that you do good work with decide with you who we all will become. So when you feel yourself sorting people into categories this week, if you find yourself doing that, come back to faces, to hearts. Know what's inside the ice. And make a warm move that you can repeat, something simple. Like finding someone who needs a friend. One warm move that keeps us all from freezing. Because the truth is, the country changes when enough people refuse to be changed by it. In a minute, we're going to sing Love Will Guide Us. Not as a certainty that love is safe, or sure, not as a claim that love is easy, but as a vow for ourselves to let love guide us. And yes, sometimes love might guide us into risk, because love is absolutely how we will stay human while we fight for a world where more people can feel the warmth. Let's sing. Let's sing to remind ourselves how to stay human. How to stay human. Rise in body or in spirit, together. Peace has tried us, hope inside us, will lead the way on the road from grief to giving. Love will guide us.
We come now to the offering. In a time when it's easy to freeze, giving is one small way we choose warmth. Your gifts support this congregation, and they also support the work of justice in our wider community. This month, we share the plate with the Huntington branch of the NAACP, who continue the long local work of civil rights, advocacy, and community organizing, protecting dignity, challenging discrimination, and helping build a Huntington where freedom is real for everyone. Before we collect the offering, I want to invite up Rachel Klein, the organizer of Engage Long Island. And Engage Long Island has been a recipient of our split plate in the past, and she's just waited for us to get back so she can come say a few words. So welcome, Rachel.
Hi, thank you so much. This gift was really a game changer for our group. It was the biggest donation we've ever received. So to Kara Gallagher, the Split Plate Committee, the entire UU, thank you on the bottom, like from the bottom of our hearts. Thank you so much. We've already done so much with it, so I just wanted to quickly go through some of the things you've accomplished with your generosity. We hosted a film screening for Planned Parenthood to support the life-saving work that they do, and almost paid the entire amount forward with the first thing that we planned with your money. You also helped fund a brunch that we prepared for the families around a McDonald's house. You helped pay for our third Loaves of Love workshop that a couple of your UU members took. We trained people how to make sourdough bread so that they can bake and share with either pantries or people who need support. You help pay for a visibility brigade. After the news coming out of Minneapolis, you paid for those signs so we could be out there on the 135 overpass with Ice Out for Good, just to raise awareness. You help pay for ice whistle kits so that we could provide to rapid response groups in Glen Cove and Port Washington. You help pay for our most recent meeting. You did a lot, so thank you so much. We put together toiletry kits, 150 kits for the homeless. We hosted Osman, who talked about his work with Ice Watch, and he's doing incredible work across Long Island, alerting communities when ice is in the neighborhood so they can stay in and stay safe. We're trying to get more of our people to be more visible and vocal with that so we can be protecting more people during this time. We always say courage is contagious. Coming up, we have a meeting where we're going to be having a pediatrician from our group and a child and adolescent psychiatrist talk about the impact of all of this immigration policy on young people right now and how devastating it is and what we can hopefully do to help. We're going to be having the head of our voter registration team challenging our members to register new voters. That's something that we do as well. We're going to be doing painted tote bags and filling them with toiletries for Carison. That's been one of the groups that we've really tried to support because they're doing amazing work for the immigrant community. Oh, yesterday you paid for like a spur of the moment event that we put together. I saw that our members were really struggling right now. I went back to a lot of things that you mentioned. It's like these are the empaths. These are the people that are trying to help right now, and the news is unbearable. So we were able to put together an event where we had a social worker talk to us. She said that she had never seen before 2016 so many people coming in with anxiety and just fears about politics and the news and what it's doing to relationships. She's like, this started in 2016, and so I didn't know if I could mention that, but it seems like you can mention that here. And so just like acknowledging that this is, you're not going crazy, like we're all feeling this strain and stress right now, so it's what you do with it. So we were able to have a social worker, we had someone who did a guided meditation, and then just had art supplies and just take care of the helpers because we can't allow good people to burn out right now. We need all of you in the fight with us. Speaking of, we're going to be organizing, I don't know if you heard, the next big No Kings rally. It will be Saturday, March 28th. I'm sure you'll have one in Huntington. Engage Long Island does the big one in Mineola. We have had like 3,000 people in the past, and something that we started that we're really proud of because we don't want 3,000 people just standing there and then going home. We've added a food collection to that, so we've collected a literal ton of food each time we've gathered for local pantries that are also hurting. And then this time around, you're going to help us put together 3,000 whistle kits because the people who show up for a rally are also the people who will show up for their thank you. So we're very excited about that. So thank you for that. You're going to help with our Garden and Give program. We help our volunteers grow fresh food. That's a partnership with Island Harvest, and then we harvest literally. We help with their numbers, and we just heard that collectively all the groups participating in this grew 11,000 pounds of fresh organic produce last year for the hungry. So that's been amazing too. If you want to join our Facebook group, I know we have a lot of members that are also part of the UU. I think we share the same values. I think you come here and get inspired, and then it's like Engage is like praying with your feet kind of thing. So please join us. We meet the fourth Thursday of every month in Plainview, and then we just add in so many other actions that you can take with us. It really is activism for everyone. So just thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. You guys are the best. Thank you.
Thank you, Rachel, for your comments. And now we will collect the offering. And thank you, everyone, for your generosity.
I asked Dylan to play a song for our postload that you're going to hear in just a moment. It's called Bella Ciao. Anybody know that song? Yeah. Okay. This is an old song from Italy, and it's about those who resist fascism. It's a partisan song, is what it's called, and it's carried by those people in their memory of those who resist fascism. It's a song of someone saying goodbye as they go out to resist. And it says, if I don't come back, bury me on the mountain under the shade of a flower, so that everyone who comes by will be inspired by the beauty of that flower and what it represents. And they'll be reminded of liberty and freedom. I caught myself whistling that song recently. I do it actually. I do it all the time actually, because a lot of my older relatives used to whistle it. But lately when I have been whistling that song, it just feels a little different. And when I sent my daughter off one morning to the bus and I said, "Ciao Bella," I suddenly felt what that tune has been carrying all along. That memory, that resolve, and the impact of what love en masse, what resistance can look like, and the risk. But mostly, the stubborn decision to not ever let cruelty be the final word, no matter whose lifetime it happens in. So as you go from here today, I hope that you took what you needed from this hour, a little warmth, some courage, and clarity. And when the world tries to freeze your heart back into something smaller, come back and let us help you warm it up. Come back to your people, to the practices that keep you human, to what you are willing to risk for love. And do not ever let the cold decide who you become. Go in peace.